When determining the appropriate cable sizing for a 4000 amp service, it's crucial to understand the applicable sections of the National Electrical Code. Specifically, Table 310.16 and Appendix B Table 307.10 are relevant. Table 310.16 provides ampacity ratings for conductors and general-purpose applications, including those installed in conduits and raceways. On the other hand, Appendix B Table 307.10 offers ampacity ratings specifically for service entrance cable. To determine which table applies, it's essential to consider the installation method. In the case of a feeder consisting of polyvinyl chloride, or PVC, encased in concrete, this is generally not considered a conduit or raceway system. Therefore, Table 310.16 is the appropriate reference for determining ampacity. Now, let's consider the cable sizing based on Table 310.16. For a 277/480 volt, 3-phase, 4-wire system, a 600 mcm copper conductor has an ampacity of 605 amps according to Table 310.16. With 10 sets of 600 mcm conductors per phase, the total ampacity of the feeder is calculated by multiplying the ampacity of a single conductor by the number of conductors in parallel. In this case, that's 10 multiplied by 605, which equals 6050 amps. Based on this calculation, the cable configuration with 10 sets of 600 mcm conductors per phase provides a total ampacity of 6050 amps. This exceeds the required 4000 amp service, indicating that the cable sizing is adequate. Appendix B Table 307.10 is not applicable in this scenario because the installation does not involve service entrance cable as defined by the NEC. To summarize, firstly, Table 310.16 provides ampacity ratings for conductors in general-purpose applications, including conduits and raceways, while Appendix B Table 307.10 provides ampacity ratings for service entrance cables specifically. Secondly, if the feeder is PVC encased in concrete, it's generally not considered a conduit or raceway. Thus, Table 310.16 applies. Thirdly, based on Table 310.16, a 600 mcm copper conductor has an ampacity of 605 amps. Fourthly, with 10 sets of 600 mcm conductors per phase, the total ampacity is 6050 amps. Finally, because 6050 amps is sufficient for a 4000 amp service, the cable sizing is correct. Remember, it is always prudent to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure compliance with local codes and regulations. Understanding the specific application and installation methods is crucial for selecting the correct ampacity table and ensuring a safe and compliant electrical system. It is important to understand the definition of service entrance conductors versus feeder conductors. Service entrance conductors are defined as the conductors between the service point and the service disconnecting means. A service point is defined as the termination of the serving utilities overhead or underground line. Feeder conductors are defined as all circuit conductors between the service equipment, the source of a separately derived system, or other power supply source and a final branch circuit over current device. There are several factors that can affect the ampacity of conductors. These factors include the ambient temperature, the number of conductors in a raceway or cable, and the type of insulation used on the conductors. Ambient temperature refers to the temperature of the air or earth in the vicinity of the electrical conductors. As ambient temperature increases, the ampacity of conductors decreases. This is because high temperatures increase the resistance of the conductors, which in turn generates more heat. To account for the effects of ambient temperature, correction factors are applied to the ampacity values listed in the NEC tables. These correction factors are based on the conductor's insulation type and the difference between the ambient temperature and the temperature rating of the conductor. The number of conductors in a raceway or cable also affects ampacity. When multiple current-carrying conductors are installed in close proximity, the heat generated by each conductor can raise the temperature of the other conductors, reducing their ability to dissipate heat. This phenomenon is known as conductor dirting. The NEC provides adjustment factors to account for conductor dirting based on the number of current-carrying conductors in a raceway or cable. These adjustment factors reduce the allowable ampacity of the conductors to prevent overheating. Type of insulation used on conductors also plays a significant role in determining ampacity. Different insulation materials have different temperature ratings, which indicate the maximum temperature the conductor can withstand without degradation of the insulation. Common insulation types include THHN, THWN, XHHW, and others. Each insulation type has a specific temperature rating, such as 75 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Celsius. Conductors with higher temperature ratings generally have higher ampacity values because they can withstand higher temperatures without insulation damage. It's crucial to select conductors with the appropriate insulation type and temperature rating for the specific application to ensure safe and reliable operation. In addition to ampacity, other factors must be considered when selecting conductors for an electrical installation. These factors include voltage drop, conductor material, and environmental conditions. Voltage drop refers to the reduction in voltage that occurs along the length of a conductor due to its resistance. Excessive voltage drop can negatively impact the performance of electrical equipment and appliances. The NEC recommends limiting voltage drop to a maximum of 3% for branch circuits and 5% for feeders. To minimize voltage drop, conductors should be sized appropriately based on the length of the circuit and the amount of current it carries. Conductor material also affects the performance and cost of electrical installations. Copper and aluminum are the two most common conductor materials. Copper has higher conductivity than aluminum, meaning it can carry more current for a given size. However, copper is also more expensive than aluminum. Aluminum conductors are lighter and less expensive, but they require larger sizes to achieve the same ampacity as copper conductors. The choice between copper and aluminum depends on factors such as cost, weight, and performance requirements. Environmental conditions can also impact the selection of conductors. In wet or corrosive environments, conductors with moisture-resistant or corrosion-resistant insulation should be used. Conductors installed in direct sunlight may require sunlight-resistant insulation to prevent degradation from ultraviolet radiation. Understanding the environmental conditions and selecting conductors with the appropriate protection is essential for ensuring long-term reliability and safety. In summary, cable sizing for a 4000 amp service requires careful consideration of the NEC guidelines and various factors that can affect ampacity. Table 310.16 is generally applicable for feeders and conduits or raceways, while Appendix B Table 307.10 is specific to service entrance cable. Factors such as ambient temperature, number of conductors, insulation type, voltage drop, conductor material, and environmental conditions must be considered when selecting conductors for an electrical installation. Consulting with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector is always recommended to ensure compliance with local codes and regulations and to ensure a safe and reliable electrical system. The selection of appropriate overcurrent protection devices is also an important consideration. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect conductors from overloads and short circuits. The size of the overcurrent protection device should be coordinated with the ampacity of the conductors it protects. The NEC provides specific requirements for overcurrent protection, including the maximum allowable size of the overcurrent device and the types of overcurrent devices that are permitted for different applications. Proper coordination of overcurrent protection devices is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Additionally, grounding and bonding are critical aspects of electrical safety. Grounding refers to connecting electrical equipment and systems to the earth to provide a low impedance path for fault current. Bonding refers to connecting metal parts of electrical equipment and systems together to create an electrically conductive path. Proper grounding and bonding help to prevent electrical shock hazards and to ensure that overcurrent protection devices operate correctly in the event of a fault. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding, including the types of grounding electrodes that are permitted and the methods for bonding metal parts. The use of appropriate wiring methods is another important consideration in electrical installations. Wiring methods refer to the types of cables, raceways, and other enclosures used to protect and support electrical conductors. Common wiring methods include rigid metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, flexible metal conduit, and non-metallic sheaths cable. The selection of the appropriate wiring method depends on factors such as the environment, the type of construction, and the applicable codes and regulations. The NEC provides specific requirements for each wiring method, including the types of conductors that are permitted, the support requirements, and the grounding and bonding requirements. Installation practices play a crucial role in the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Proper installation techniques, such as making secure connections, supporting conductors properly, and protecting conductors from damage, are essential for preventing electrical hazards and ensuring long-term performance. The NEC provides detailed requirements for installation practices, including the methods for terminating conductors, the spacing between conductors, and the protection of conductors from physical damage. Following proper installation practices is essential for creating a safe and reliable electrical system. In addition to the NEC, other codes and standards may apply to electrical installations. These codes and standards may include local building codes, fire codes, and energy codes. It's important to be familiar with all applicable codes and standards and to ensure that electrical installations comply with these requirements. Local building codes may specify requirements for electrical installations in buildings, such as the types of wiring methods that are permitted and the location of electrical outlets. Fire codes may specify requirements for fire alarm systems and emergency lighting systems. Energy codes may specify requirements for energy-efficient lighting and HVAC systems. Compliance with all applicable codes and standards is essential for ensuring the safety and performance of electrical installations. Furthermore, regular inspection and maintenance are essential for maintaining the safety and reliability of electrical systems. Electrical systems should be inspected periodically to identify any potential problems, such as loose connections, damaged conductors, or malfunctioning equipment. Maintenance activities, such as tightening connections, replacing worn components, and cleaning equipment, should be performed on a regular basis to prevent electrical hazards and ensure long-term performance. Regular inspection and maintenance can help to identify and correct problems before they lead to electrical failures or safety hazards. Finally, safety is paramount in all electrical work. Electrical work should only be performed by qualified and trained individuals who are familiar with the hazards of electricity and the safety procedures for working with electrical systems. Proper personal protective equipment, such as gloves, eye protection, and insulated tools, should be used when working with electrical systems. Electrical circuits should be de-energized before working on them, and lockout-tagout procedures should be followed to prevent accidental re-energization. Safety should always be the top priority in all electrical work to prevent electrical shocks, burns, and other injuries. The information provided here is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector to ensure that electrical installations comply with all applicable codes and regulations and are safe for their intended use. The field of electrical engineering is constantly evolving, and it is important to stay up to date with the latest codes, standards, and technologies. Continuous learning and professional development are essential for electrical engineers to maintain their competence and to provide safe and reliable electrical services. By staying informed and following best practices, electrical engineers can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems and to contribute to the advancement of the electrical industry.